Today's podcast is going to be interesting.
Yeah.
All right, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
I've been waiting for this one. Turn it up.
Is it okay to...
You can drink.
I'm thirsty.
I should probably get a drink. Hold on, stand by. Hello, friends.
Hello.
Welcome back.
Welcome to Love This For Us.
Love This For Us.
Where are we at with our jingle?
I am a slacker and I just haven't gotten into the email to get it and make that a thing.
Okay.
So,
Good morning.
good morning. How are you?
Good. I'm good.
We're doing well. I think we had a little bit of a weird week.
Yeah. Everybody,
Yeah.
Everybody in our family. We just had other stuff, like off-camera stuff that was not bad.
Not bad.
Just life.
Life. Yeah. But we're good now. It's good to be back.
And I'm moisturized.
And she's moisturized. We love a good skincare queen for us. So we didn't have a topic or whatever for today's video at all. I was like, well, let's talk about you being a firefighter, which is still very interesting. And then you brought up something. You want to tell me what you brought up?
I did. I said, have you heard about that influencer who supposedly, and I'm using air quotes, rehomed a child? And you said,
I know exactly
yeah.
who she is. Yeah.
Well, I didn't know anything about it.
It's hard because it's like every news outlet has picked it up by now.
Right, which is where I saw it, somewhere on...
You have no idea who Myka is.
I have no idea who anybody is. I assume they have a YouTube channel.
They have multiple YouTube channels. John actually didn't know who Myka was either, but watched her husband. He's got like a car cleaning channel, and that's like what he's been into. You guys know that. So he's watched him.
Okay.
And I have watched Myka for 3 years. I found her through cleaning videos. Remember how I like love cleaning videos?
Okay.
So she did those. And they documented their whole experience adopting Huxley, their son from China, over the last couple of years. It's been a couple of years they've had him.
Well, how old was he when he was adopted?
I don't know exact ages. He was very young. He's still young.
Like
so
baby? Like he was
baby-ish. Like okay. 1 and 2-ish, 2-ish, I think more than 1. I don't know all the
was
details.
just aghast that's why I asked you, is this real? Because I didn't really click. I just try to stay away from negative stuff anyway, and I didn't really click on the story because I didn't want, because it just kind of unfathomable to me that you would, first of all, use the word rehome. That's what they say when you're given a puppy back that doesn't get along with your cat or something.
Yeah. Did you watch the video that they made?
No.
Talking about it?
No. The only thing I clicked on was one video, I guess, of her interacting with him, and it just seemed kind of mean. You know, but then maybe I was seeing it through the context of knowing that she had just, you know what I mean? So there's context to everything, and we can all get frustrated. I just, you know, we have, I'm going to go.
No, you talk about this because I want to hear what you have to say, because she does not know who this person is, and I do. So I want to hear what your point of view is.
Well, using the word rehome, I think, you know, we wouldn't even take a dog back.
I know.
You know what I mean? We've had dogs, and this isn't like self-patting, you know, but I was just talking to somebody yesterday whose dog is getting older and on medication. And I'm like, we have, you know, when we adopted Drover and Raven, you know, where they ask on the thing, like, are you okay with health issues? Are we? You know, we've had pharmacies in here for dogs because whatever, they're a family member, whatever they get, that's what we take care of, you know?
Yeah.
So you know, but you know,
I have a lot of feelings on this particular.
So it doesn't, but then, you know, I guess I can speak freely.
Yeah.
You know what it made me think of then too is, and I don't know that story either, but Kate plus 8, didn't she ship off one of her kids?
Yeah.
But I don't think that was autism, but that was maybe behavior.
It's a different, I think what Kate did, that child is not...
he's still part of her family.
He's still her family member.
But it felt kind of like that too. But I understand, like with, I don't know what his issue is, but with mental illness or, you know, certain dangerous behaviors, you know, people have to, we knew a child a while ago in our life that had to go to several different places because of his behavior. You know, so I guess that's different. But to just say, no, it's not my flavor anymore. You take it back. I'm like, and I'd like to think it was a heart-wrenching, horrible decision made for, but even then, let's use back to the Kate, what's her last name? Gosselin? Go back to that example and say he was exhibiting behaviors. That's the only part I read, is he was exhibiting behaviors that were maybe threatening to her other children. Then you do find him a facility. He's still your child, but you know, like you can't live here.
Right.
He doesn't understand that, but I mean, he has to go somewhere until he can, you know, or not. Yeah, I just don't understand.
Well,
and I have loved a child who was not of my blood. I've loved many children that were not of my blood, but the child I'm talking about, you know, he was in our home. He
had behavior issues.
But he could have very well been, we were willing, knowing all that, had his family situation been different, we would have been willing to adopt him, and you know that. We wouldn't have given him back just because he started to get in trouble or...
And even now, as he's now an adult and has his own life, and it's still very troubling and problematic behavior, we still find a way to try and help him when we reach out or when he reaches out.
In a way that's
safe.
Yeah.
My thoughts on this, I was not going to talk about this. I was not going to say a single word. Number one, because I don't know what goes on inside their home.
Right. Well,
and
that's fair.
I can't.
Because you wouldn't want somebody judging you.
Exactly. And who am I to judge? But I have followed this journey for the last 2.5, I think, years. And I've watched it unfold. And I knew when they got Huxley, obviously, that there was going to be probably some hardships because it's an international adoption. There's a language barrier. There's special needs obviously involved as well.
Remember when Graham loved that show, The Little Couple? And they adopted, do you ever watch that?
Yeah.
They adopted 2 children overseas, and they had it was tough with neurotypical kids. You know, the language barrier, the culture barrier, the fact that you are, and I don't know this little boy's story, but the fact that you're maybe never have been nurtured or loved as a child, as an infant, you know, in that important bonding time, takes a long time to heal from that.
Well, what I wanted to say, honestly, like I have gotten reached out to by everybody because this is blown up in the special needs community times a billion. It's everywhere. It's on the news. It's everywhere. And as a special needs parent, I was like, so what are your thoughts? Like, it's offensive to us because he has special needs and like she has all these picture perfect, what you think babies, and then they adopt a special one and they just can't handle it, so they're going to send him back.
Where did he go? Did they send him back to the orphanage?
I don't know. They want to respect his privacy now.
I just hope he went to, because they're in this country, I presume. I just hope there's a loving family here who, so the poor kid didn't have to have the trauma of going all the way back there to like be put back up for adoption.
From what I understand from watching the video, because I've watched it, Mom has not, you're literally just going based off of what you've seen on the news and like what you've watched.
I knew that it would upset me, so I didn't watch it.
Okay, well, I watched it, and from what it sounds like, they found, I don't know how the adoption system works, but I know enough to know that there's no way you found a way to rehome him in 4 months for him to go. He's more than likely in a foster care system. I don't know. So I really can't say where this child is.
No,
all we can hope for, honestly, is that he's the best. But what I really want to say to this, because more than likely, Myka, you're more than likely going to watch this, because when something like this happens, you're going to Google yourself and like try and see. Just know, like, your story is your own, but the way that they did the video and talked about it was like a giant slap in the face to all special needs parents everywhere.
Yeah, that's kind of the way I took it. Is I don't really know the story, but it's like anybody that does, you know, like we used to say to our firefighters when we'd hire them, you know, if you go out and act the fool, you know, when you're not working and get in trouble or do something foolish, you're not just, you know, Lauren, you know, the citizen, you're Lauren, one of our firefighters. So I felt the same way, like, what does this say about other special needs parents? You know, it's a heroic, and maybe, you know, I'm always trying to see both sides. You know, maybe it is the dark underbelly of what people don't talk about when they are really, really challenged with a child with special needs. But this just feels like what I think is like wrong with our disposable society. You know, here's my brand, you know, and this doesn't fit into my brand anymore. I can't imagine being so callous. I'm sure they have feelings, and I'm sure they're overwhelmed. And, you know,
well, if you watch the video, her husband says when they got him, they weren't made, this is what really turned my husband off from him, because like I said, John really loved his cleaning car videos. I mean, it inspired him to do it himself. So it did hurt him, and he had no idea who they were, what their story was, but the husband said, there was more medical issues than we were made aware of.
Hey,
when we
you
got
know what?
him.
When they handed you Ella, we didn't know.
That's what I want to say. Let's take a second. I know.
You know,
when we were given our children and we gave birth to them, none of us knew what we were facing. You know
would
what
I have said, oh, this little beautiful Lauren is just going to break my heart in her teenage years? I don't think I'm going to be up to it.
Yeah.
You know,
and when you go through the adoption process, my understanding, because we do have friends who have adopted children and have fostered multiple children and fostered and then adopted, these people went out of their way to actively go get Huxley. They went out of their way to adopt him. They found him, they fell in love with him, they got him.
and probably all that was genuine.
I believe it was genuine, but I also believe as a YouTuber, I know when you are a brand and you're growing your channel, I know when you get a hit on a video, because there was multiple videos leading up to them actually adopting, like a process, which you would do for anything that you're as a big life change. And I'm not saying that they did it for YouTube, but it feels, my opinion, like it was very much done like, oh, people are really liking this, and it might have inspired them to keep going. And when they...
And maybe ignore the red flags.
I think they had red flags immediately, as they should, when they got to China and they got their child, and it was very, very difficult.
Did they try to get help? That's the part.
Yeah, I as far as I'm aware, they did try and do therapies. I know they had mentioned at one point stem cells, which that's a thing in the autism community that is very, very, very...
But look at Ella. I mean, how many years of therapy did it take? It's not like learning to drive or... you know, something where you go, okay, there's a trajectory here. You're going to start here and get here, and that, like, you know.
It's weird to sit back and be like the judge and jury for someone else's life.
I don't want to judge. I don't
want to judge either, but I just know that as a special needs parent, the thought, because we weren't aware of Ella's medical conditions or anything either when we received her. And my theory with adoption is when you adopt a child is you're adopting them like you want them, no matter what. That's like how it's basically like giving birth.
Right.
It's very hard to think about what this poor kid is going through, being ripped out of his homeland.
How old is he now?
I don't know, like 4 or 5 maybe. He's young, he's very young, and attaching himself to this family that has taken care of him for 2 years. I would understand more if you saw the red flags early on, in 2-3 months, and you're like, whoa, we really might have done something here that we weren't prepared for. We have other kids to think about. This is way out of our spectrum of like knowledge.
What do you say to the other kids? And then how do they feel like, oh boy, if I don't act up there, you know, there's just that's not for us to go.
That's not for us to go.
It's just a shame that it puts a little bit of a stain on 2 things. It doesn't put a stain on special needs parents, because
no,
you're not lumped in with that, but it does put a stain on
family
influencer,
and
family
vlogging.
vloggers, and that kind of stuff. You know,
what she's done.
I hate to see people be suspect of, you know, anybody's. You know, everybody's got different motivation. I mean, but you know, then you see the YouTube guy that didn't have a dad, and so he makes these YouTube videos like ask dad how to change a faucet, ask dad how to, you know. So I still choose to believe most people probably get into it either to be creative or, you know.
I think maybe they genuinely wanted another child, and they wanted to do the special gift of adoption, because that's something, to adopt a child is very special.
It's heroic, yeah.
And it's not for anyone. Obviously they weren't equipped, and that's okay. Like, it's okay. But I think I would have respected them more. Don't put 2 years into raising him and then decide like this is a little too much.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's hard.
They have to live with themselves. So
Absolutely.
I think
there's nothing we can say that's going to make what they did, it's not going to change their feelings on, it's not going to change the situation. But I have been asked by a lot of people, you brought up, and I was like, oh my gosh, I did not want to talk about Myka.
Well, I think the best thing that you all can do in your close-knit autism vlog squad, perfect.
And I just have to say, multiple people of us, we've all reached out to Myka.
Oh.
I have reached out to Myka several times in the early days of her getting Huxley.
Because I was going to say, that's the best thing you can do, is keep the message out there that, you know, if you feel like you're in over your head, if you want somebody to talk to, we've all been where you've been, and we're different, you know, so.
And she wasn't interested in having a child with autism. That's just and nobody really truly is interested in having a child with autism. You adapt, you move on, you either get therapy, get them help, try and have them live their very best life. I can't imagine, and this is me being on the other side, is like, I can't imagine how she felt not birthing this child, because there is a certain kind of like attachment when you give birth to a child. You have to actually work for an attachment with a child that you adopt. So I can't imagine being handed a child that's older with the language barrier, and all of a sudden you're like, okay, he has autism, he may stay home with you forever, and you have neurotypical kids, and you're like, what? That's a lot. I can't imagine that's a lot. So that I empathize with, but at the same time, it's like,
well, I didn't know you guys had all reached out.
I've reached out several times.
But I think that's how you close this with, if you're in that boat and feeling like you don't know what else to do. I mean, that's why they have those things, it's all over the country, where you can drop your newborn baby, you know what, like up to 3 days old or whatever, at a fire station or a safe place. So that if you just feel like you can't handle it and you don't want to hurt the baby, or you just can't whoa, I can't handle it.
I think honestly what they're doing, to a certain extent, I
never thought about giving you back when you were a teenager. and you've been through hell.
We've been through hell, and there's several other.
There's probably more hell coming.
And that's what happens with raising a child. But at the same time, it's very difficult for everyone, especially special needs parents, to wrap their head around the fact that this perfect white picket fence family, who had beautiful neurotypical children, went out of their way to go get this special little boy from China, bring him home, and decide he's just too much. We didn't sign up for all of this. We didn't know. So like, we're going to find someone. But maybe, I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt, Stauffer, maybe you guys have decided you can't give him the care that he needs, or the attention, or the love, or the life, and you might have just saved him from years of neglect. Not saying you're going to neglect him or that they're doing anything bad, but maybe they saved him. Maybe he'll go. I have to believe that he is somewhere better, that he's not in the foster care system, that he's not in a country that is not his homeland, not able to communicate properly already because he does struggle with autism or whatever his needs are. I have to believe that maybe he did find somewhere better. They say several times they found him a new mommy with medical profession that can handle him. I'm not a medical professional. I've never been a medical professional, and I still managed to take care of my autistic child.
Yeah, but I don't want it to turn judging.
It's not turning judging, but it's like, who's to say what they're doing is right or wrong? But I want you guys to understand my feelings on this as a special
needs parent. Show them grace. They made a really difficult choice that they have to live with for the rest of their life.
Show them grace, and also remember that we've all been in situations that we would be judged for.
Absolutely.
And
I don't reach out if that's where you're feeling relative to an autistic child, that you're a new diagnosis or, you know, a change or
but
something.
As a special needs parent, it's hurtful to think that you just were like, this is too hard, let's throw it away, and like, you know what I mean? That's where it hurts. I think that's where the special needs community is very upset. Everyone's upset, but like, to be a autism mom or an autism family and just see that they just were like, this is too much, like we just can't do it. Like, I don't ever want that kind of, because they are such a large platform and they're hitting such a large audience. When they did bring him home, I mean, People magazine covered it. They were a huge deal. So, which is more than likely why it's been picked up again and everything else. It kind of gives, like, cause I've looked through her comment section. I don't know if they're filtering it, but everybody's like, I know your heart and you didn't mean to. It kind of gives the impression like if somebody else were to go and do this, like that it's okay. And I don't want people to think that it's okay for you to be like, I'm gonna tap out here because this is just a little too much, I didn't get it. Because no matter where you adopt a child from, there's going to be adoption, there's trauma, there's things that come along with that. And it scares me that they have such a large platform and that they've done this, and that other people can be like, well, they did it and they got him a new home and he's okay. You know what I mean? Like, that's dark. It's like thinking you can go to the pound, get a puppy, and you're like, I don't really like this puppy, I'm gonna send it back. You know what happens to puppies that get sent back? You know what I mean? It's just very dark. It's very, very dark. And it makes me very angry. And I didn't want to talk about it. And then when you brought it up, I was like, we should talk about it because it's all I get questions about. It's all I'm getting, like.
Did this just now happen?
It happened a couple days ago, yeah. And I haven't said a single word about it because I didn't want, there are influencers that I enjoy watching and that I do like, that are very good friends with her and probably support her as the friends do when you support your friend. But I'd like also them to realize, like,
well, I guess everybody's entitled to their feelings.
You're judged by the company you keep. I don't care how good of a person you are. There's a line when you cross over And I think they crossed it. And that's all I'm gonna leave it at.
Wow.
I think they crossed it. I really did. I genuinely enjoyed her content. I think over the last couple years, I've watched, I don't know their life because they don't let us in like that, but I've watched them struggle with it. And I think I would have had more respect for them if they, because you don't just like.
Does it feel, having not watched her, does it feel like, we're fine, he's gone?
Yeah. I mean, not really, because they have mentioned how tough it is, but obviously kind of a little bit. He kind of just disappeared from the channel. And I think it was being talked about a lot or whatever, but I haven't followed that closely. But definitely, I want you guys.
Yes, they could have done a lot, used that platform for good to what I want to say, show their struggles. You know,
they had a huge opportunity, and
so other people don't feel so alone, and you know that.
Her genre of content, she had a massive opportunity to bring autism awareness to a platform that none of us can touch. You know what I mean?
Oh, really?
The white picket fence, like perfect, beautiful, because they're gorgeous people. You know what I mean? There was a really good opportunity there for her to make a huge difference in the autism community.
For awareness. Yeah.
And instead of doing that, this is what happened. And it's like, it feels a lot like.
Or at least, I mean, if you're going to put, like you see with you, if you're going to put your life out there, put your life out there, and then, you know, people are more understanding of where you're coming from.
But that's my rant. It's hard. It's really hard for me because, like I said, I know a lot of people who know her, and I know that it's probably going to be super taboo for me to talk about it. But how can I not? How can I not say something as a parent of a child with autism and not stand up for this poor? I hope, I pray and pray and pray that this kid is somewhere so safe and loving and nurturing.
I'm sure they did that.
And I don't think that they didn't even love him or nurture him. I just don't think they were equipped, which is totally fine. But then you figure out a way. It's just, I wasn't equipped either. It just feels very dark. It's dark. I can't imagine what they're going through as an influencer with that large of a platform and this happening around you. Can't imagine what they're going through. But at the same time, it's very, they need to understand we're going to have feelings about it.
And the thing is, you as influencers, I saw somebody in reference to this situation say, you know, that shouldn't even be a job, you know. But what I guess what I'm saying is, you know, how do I want to say it? Just, they had an opportunity to influence. You know what I mean? So
major,
you know, which is why one of the reasons you started your channel, when people always ask, you know, it's like, you know, you started with a mishmash. Okay, let's talk about Ella and being an autism family, and you had keto in the beginning. You know, to me, being an influencer is a if you're going to embody that title, is all encompassing, because otherwise you're just a performer. You know what I mean? Then you're just an actor going, you should drink this stuff. You know, but I mean, if you're going to be, sorry, that probably made that noisy. But if you're going to really be an influencer, then I think you should influence for good. See, that's my whole thing with the influencer thing. I read a big article in the Sunday New York Times about TikTok houses, you know, in LA or whatever, all these kids really that live together in TikTok houses and make content and stuff. To me, that's, you're a performer. You know, you're not you might be an influencer because they follow you and say, oh, you drink that kind of soda, I'm going to drink it too. But to me, an influencer should be what you're doing and the Moss family is doing, you know, to influence change, you know, to say, here's what autism looks like. We didn't know, you know, here's what autism looks like. Or,
for us. Or
other people. I don't know, let's even just say like what Amanda's doing with her keto ginger thing. Influence people to say, hey, if this is the type of lifestyle you want to live for your health, here's how I do it. Influence for good. I'm so sick of influence
for benefits.
For benefits or for negativity.
And she's generally,
and I don't know these people.
She really doesn't, and that's the thing, is my mom has no idea who these people are. I know who they are.
I watch one YouTube channel.
Mine. And I'm biting my tongue on a lot of things because I know I will be reacting out of pure emotion instead of intelligence, and I am no one to judge.
And I want to end it on a positive note.
Me too.
If you're an influencer, use your influence for good. You know, for education, for, you know, instead of saying, and I don't know those people, but for example, like those TikTok people, you know, use your influence instead of trying to get ready to drink Bang energy drink. Let's say, you know, buy a Bang energy drink and donate $2 to put a well in a place in Africa that doesn't have a well. You know?
They've done things. I feel almost not bad, but I don't want to defend her or them And I also don't want to totally just come down on them and just be like, you
less,
suck.
We don't live in glass houses.
We don't.
It is not for us to throw stones.
It's not. But as an autism mom, you guys need to know my feelings. And my feelings are, it makes me sick. And it makes me sick for everyone. It makes me sick for their sweet babies that they already have and have birthed themselves. It makes me sick for that sweet little boy.
Right.
It makes me sick for them because this is...
But maybe, you know, this will be an epiphany and they'll say,
But maybe it'll make it harder for adopting internationally. Maybe that will invoke some sort of change somehow.
But then that's a shame for if that's the case, then there we are again, the ugly Americans who came and took a kid and then gave it back. Then it makes it harder for the people that are truly trying to, that have, you know, and I'm not saying they didn't have the best of intentions, but you know what I mean? The people that are like, I don't care. I mean, you see people, I don't get People magazine anymore, but in those kind of things, you see people that genuinely have adopted like 15 kids that, you know,
it takes a special
are physically
person.
disabled and have mental challenges and have, you know, all kinds of, I hate to see that it would make it hard for people like that who are like, they're in and they know how to deal with it and that's their mission in life. So I just hope it doesn't make it hard for anybody else.
Yeah.
And I hope that poor little guy just, you know, is surrounded by love.
And I hope that, because they've mentioned a lot about his privacy. They want his privacy. Well, you guys put him on the internet and talked about him a lot, so I understand.
Well, he should have privacy now.
He should absolutely have privacy.
He's in a nice home and he can just have a normal life.
I hope he does, and we're gonna pray that he does and thrives, and that they did make the right decision, and that this was the best thing for him. But for us to not speak up, or for me to not speak up and say something, has been very hard for me. So
But we don't walk a mile in anybody's shoes.
No, and I'm not being negative. You're giving me like the putting the fire out. I'm not lit up about it. It makes me sad. It makes me sad more than anything for all involved, not just him, for everybody. Because that whole decision, I don't know how you get there. You know what I mean? I don't know how you get there. And to get there was probably super dark, and I don't want to know. You know what I mean? I don't know what goes on in their life, but just know the special needs community is upset, and a little bit rightfully so. But at the same time, I do encourage you guys to have some compassion and try and remember we've all walked through really dark stuff.
And if you're struggling, reach out to somebody that is in a I mean, that's one of the beautiful things of the internet, is you can find other people that are facing your challenges.
And that you can benefit from and get information from and help from. So reach
out.
Yep. Always reach out. And
I'm not judging. It's not for me to judge.
I'm not judging either.
Just,
I'm really
it's a
not.
shame to see.
It is a shame. And it's all over the
news. There's a million
news.
Things going on in the world that are a shame about.
Disgusting. And we're not even going to talk about
that we don't have
it's
the
dark.
right to judge.
We don't.
So
but this is
pray for that little boy. That's, to me, that's the focus, is pray for the boy and the other children.
Yeah.
You know?
And I pray for, honestly, all of them. I wish them nothing but well, and I hope that it all works out. Yep. But as a social media influencer with a special needs child, how do you not talk about it?
Right. I can't wait to see your child.
What child?
Your child.
Ella?
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not pregnant.
No.
I've let that go officially, by the way.
What do you mean let it go?
Like, I definitely don't think I'm pregnant.
Good.
But I still held on. Even when the blood test said no, I still held on a little bit. But I'm good now.
It'll happen when it's meant to be.
I know.
No, and Ella is, and I get it. Everybody has a different journey with their child, but you know, seeing Ella now is not who we thought how it would be when Ella was, you know, four. So, you know,
life is so different, and it's so good, and it's so beautiful, and it's been the biggest joy of my life to watch her grow up, and it makes me sad.
But I can't wait to see her today.
Me too.
We're going to end on a happy note.
We're ending on a happy note.
She's going to come over and check on Opa's work.
So please, down in the comment section, let's just be nice. Let's have some empathy.
Oh, be nice. Because...
be nice.
Be nice. No, seriously.
Yeah, I know.
It's so ugly in the world.
It's so ugly.
You know, we don't have the right to judge anybody. We don't have the right to be unkind.
I agree.
You know, please be kind.
Please.
And be kind to the random strangers, you know. And the other... I just posted this on my Facebook the other day. Really, you know, just be nice. I was going to say, you know, just be nice.
Just be nice.
Yeah.
On that
Can't
note,
say something nice, don't say anything at all. And I don't want, that's what I was going to say, but then this felt kind of like that, you know, and I don't.
Does it feel like that though? Or is it because it doesn't feel like that to me. I can tell you're stressed out because you're like, we're not bashing this woman.
No,
we're talking about something that's on a public platform. Right. The same way people react to my content and have feelings and opinions on me.
I know. I know.
I could have easily...
You put yourself out there, so I mean, that's...
I could have easily shut my mouth on this, but this one was one, when you brought it up, I was like, well, that's what we're talking about. And we didn't say anything that would make it terrible. I really bit my tongue, to be quite honest.
Oh.
So, I think, and you did great. You don't even know her, so... I don't want it to turn ugly. That's more what I'm saying.
No.
I don't want this to be an ugly thing. If your thoughts are kind and you can keep them composed and make a really valid point, I'd love to hear it.
And you know what? In the comments, wherever you are, special needs people particularly, say, hey, I'm in Oklahoma, and here's who here's how to get a hold of somebody if you're struggling in Oklahoma.
If you need services, if you need help, if you need someone to reach out
start
to.
tagging all the places where, or like, hey, I watched this person's channel and it's been really helpful, or I found this website to have good content. That's what you should get in the comments.
That's a great.
Yep, should get that in the comments. Everybody, because there'll be people coming to look at all these type of videos.
Leave resources.
That are struggling, so leave resources.
That's perfect.
Leave a kind word and leave a resource.
If you have one, leave a resource. I love that. Good job. That's a great way to end it. And on that note, we're ending it. I don't feel bad about this. I don't.
Well, I feel better about that. I think then good will come of it. Somebody will scroll through the comments and say, oh, well, I live in Oklahoma and here's the, I don't know,
All right.
Okay.
We're going to end
Do
it.
that.
Do that. Thank you for watching.
Graham says do that.
And thanks for having these hard talks with us sometimes. Sometimes you got to talk about it.
Sometimes you do.
All right. We'll see you in the next one.
Are we going to leave that?
Bye, friends.
Bye, friends.